What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Kevin Smith here. September 11th, 2025, here on LFA TV. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We are awaiting a news conference. Apparently, there are updates coming from local FBI. We don't know what those are yet. Sources are confirming to Fox News that those etchings that I'm sure everyone has reported on throughout the day are in fact there. We don't. Fox hasn't confirmed yet what it exactly is. But Steven Crowder, along with the Wall Street Journal, are making claims, and I don't think Steven would. I don't think Steven would report something like this without having evidence and proof of it ahead of time, that there was all sorts of Antifa and trans crap on it. We're going to wait and find out from the FBI. Once again, where there was a press conference scheduled for about 15 minutes ago, and we're awaiting that to come in. But before we get started today, for everyone who watched yesterday, I would just like to I'd like to take this moment to apologize to the audience for yesterday. I should have been able to keep my composure in the moment, and I wasn't able to, and it was just completely unprofessional. And I'm sorry about that. I just want to start the show off with that. Right out of the gate, I just want to apologize for that. I should never have let that happen. So let's get on with the show today, because look, everyone, you're all on social media. You all have seen the updates. You all have seen the photographs that the FBI has released of a person of interest. Here he is. If you know this person, please do reach out to the FBI, as they are a person of interest in this particular case. But as we await the press conference, as we await the news conference, I want to talk to everyone about who Charlie Kirk was, what he stood for. I want to talk to you guys about what it means to be an activist. Now, I don't really care. I'm going to show a lot of clips today of what Charlie meant to a lot of people, a lot of big names in the industry, a lot of people you may have heard of, some people you may not have heard of, some people you like, some people you may not like, about what it means to be in this space and do the things that we do. The sort of thing Charlie was doing is the exact same thing as an event I have planned with Brandon Strzok on Sunday in Astoria, Queens. You know, my local audience will understand this. My local audience will understand that there's a lot of people out there who don't like Sean and myself for varying numbers of reasons. Candidate we picked, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. We didn't focus on this, we didn't focus on that. I'm sure Sean will tell you. But when you're the leader of an organization, when you're the front man, so to speak, these are things you have to deal with. On Sunday, I'll let you guys know right now. Is the press conference happening? Let me see. Hold on. Give me a sec. Oh. Let me see. Is the press conference happening yet? Did Fox just break it? No, not yet. On Saturday, for the local audience, we're going to be having a vigil for Charlie Kirk out here on Long Island. And I would urge everybody in the local audience to attend. It's going to be 7 p.m. at the Seaford train station, where we do a lot of our events. I know our national audience, you guys don't really, whatever. But for the local audience, come on out. Saturday at 7 p.m. Because This is how we avenge Charlie's death. This is how we fight for the morals and the principles that a guy like Charlie Kirk stood for. By never quitting. And as I said, there's some people here that, on the island that may not like us for whatever decision we might have made or what we did in the last 5 years since the loud majority started. And I'm talking to the local audience now because I want you guys to hear this. There's not a day that went by we didn't worry something like this was going to happen at one of our events. There wasn't a day that went by. There wasn't a rally. There wasn't a protest. There wasn't anything that we didn't worry about. And that is a weight that, unless you've done it, you'll never understand. And Charlie knew that going in. And I'm sure if Charlie were to give a message to everyone, if he were able to remark on his last word, I'm sure Charlie would say something along the lines of, "Thank God nobody else got hurt." And unless you're the leader of a movement, you will never understand that feeling. You'll never understand it. So for all the people out there who want to criticize, and look, we criticize people on this show all the time. We criticize people on our own side all the time. Unless you're out there, unless you're doing it, you have no idea the pressure. You have no idea the pressure at all. So on this show today, until we're awaiting the press conference happening, the FBI is planning on giving an update on the shooter. I want to spend this show talking about how Charlie affected people and what he did for people. And the real man that he was. People see the front face, they see leader of this giant organization, but who the man really was. So over the course of the next hour or until this press conference begins, we're going to talk about what Charlie Kirk did for others, how he furthered the movement, and what you can do to keep his legacy alive. We're going to start out with Benny Johnson, telling a story about what Charlie did for him personally in his time of need.
And again, tonight, a martyr.
A martyr. And someone who cared so deeply about family, the American family, and the American child. He devoted his entire life to it well before he had children. He inspired me to have children and was constantly asking me, when am I going to have babies after I got married? Constantly. Now, this is a young man who was in his young 20s when that Rush Limbaugh clip would have happened in 2018. Charlie Kirk is somebody who, the year after that, provided something that I will never forget, and a story that I've never told anyone, Laura, and I will tell you right now. There was a horrific fire on my block in Washington, D.C., right after a mass shooting when D.C. defunded their police. We had just brought home our newborn baby, and the lives of my wife and my newborn child was under threat. And we felt horribly vulnerable, and we felt truly like we had nowhere to go. Charlie Kirk allowed me and my wife and my family, my young family, to stay in his condo here in Florida, and to search for a new home, to have refuge and shelter when our home had been horribly fire damaged and when bullets rang out on my block that could have struck my family. And Charlie was there for us, and he never asked for anything in return. This is why, in fact, I live in Florida. My family has quintupled since then in children and in blessings, and it's because of Charlie. Extrapolate that to tens of, if not hundreds of millions of young lives who Charlie has affected, and what you are seeing on your screen right now is perhaps the single most effective spokesperson for the American dream that we've ever seen or witnessed in our lives. It's why he is an American martyr and a Christian martyr, and we will continue his work. God bless
Alex
Charlie
and
Kirk.
Benny, Both of you, thank you so much tonight.
He didn't have to do that. He did it for a friend. He did it for somebody who he knew needed help. Hey, man, take my place. Get yourself back on your feet. He touched so many lives in his short life. You know, it's... I joke around all the time about how old I feel, you know, and the chat likes to rib on me a little bit, you know, oh, you're a baby, this, that, and the third. Charlie Kirk was 5 years younger than me. 31 years old. When I was 31, for the local audience, I'll give you an idea. When I was 31, I had just met Sean. We had just started this whole thing. We didn't know which way was up. We didn't know where the future was going to take us. We didn't know if there would be a future in this movement. But we got welcomed in by people like Charlie, people like Gavin Wax, into the community of America First Patriots all over this country, by people like Benny Johnson and his producer, Alex, welcomed us in. And we're eternally grateful for it. Here's just another story of Charlie being Charlie by Tim Pool.
Charlie, you will be missed more than I think most people realize. My thoughts and prayers to Charlie's family, his friends, and those around him. I'm nowhere near the top of the list of people who have a right to be, you know, personally outraged or anything like that. I didn't hang out with the guy. We didn't play golf together or anything, but he was my friend. And he took care of me and my crew, and he was nice to us. And he treated us like we were worthy. He treated us like, you know, when we go to his events, it was like we were the stars of the show. I know we're not. Tucker Carlson speaking. Come on. We got to have Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson on Timcast IRL on the stage at TPUSA, and he made you feel like you were special. We were here for you, but we were all there for him. And it means so much to me. And it meant so much to me the whole time that I was always just had this feeling like I am so grateful to get to be a part of this thing that he had built. And someone evil took this man from us. So my thoughts and my prayers to his family. And I just hope everybody keeps it cool. And I appreciate you guys coming in and watching this. And I apologize if in any way it, you know, obviously I'm talking about myself a little bit. That's why I'm like, I don't want to do a video like this. But I think it's probably irresponsible not to at least talk about what's happening behind the scenes a little bit and how we feel about this and why it was so important that we talk about Charlie and his work. It feels like it's not real. It feels like a nightmare. I feel like I'm going to wake up in 5 minutes. I can't believe this, man. My friends, thank you all so much for hanging out with me. And we'll have more updates. 8 o'clock, we'll be live with Timcast IRL like we always do.
So that was Tim Pool discussing what Charlie meant to him. I know Tim. You know, Charlie, as big as he was, as big as he got, as influential as he got, he never looked down on people. He gave everybody an opportunity to succeed like he did. He welcomed everyone into the movement. He welcomed everybody in. And he did the right things. Here with Jack Posobiec on Charlie Kirk.
Posobiec, you probably spent more time on the road with Charlie, more time working on things. The two shows backed up, but you guys were in constant communication, plotting, strategizing, executing. Your thoughts on tell us who Charlie Kirk was.
Charlie was always thinking. Charlie was always he was more of a chess player than people realize, because he could see angles and he could think 3 moves ahead, 4 moves ahead,
knew how to
5
take a
moves
bank
ahead.
shot.
He knew how to take that bank shot. Boom, 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 triple rail bank shot, and he was going to make it. If something was in his way, he was either going to take it down or he was going to get around it, because he would see these things coming. And there's just so many stories behind the scenes that people don't even know. Things that Charlie has never talked about publicly once, things that he's been involved in, conversations, decisions, plans that beyond Turning Point, right? The amount of lives that he touched, even beyond politics, the amount of stuff that he did just as a good person for people is unlistable. It's innumerable. And the fact that they would take someone like that away, the fact that they would take someone like that away from this world.
What do you mean? From their perspective, Charlie Kirk was one of the top 2 or 3 people in the entire MAGA movement. Right? These people are vicious. They're playing for keeps. Of course, Charlie Kirk. That's why when you gave him the warning that Charlie was a target, is because how many go back to American history? How many individuals in their 20s? Because the formation of this generation started, years ago with Charlie Kirk. How many people have done to a generation when they're in that generation as far as leadership go? No one really comes to mind right now except for Charlie Kirk.
Well, I would just say, when you think of, coming from Philadelphia, that you look at the age of a lot of the founders in the founding generation.
Exactly.
And you see guys in their 20s and 30s, and it was young men.
That was a Charlie Kirk.
Who stepped at the age of Jefferson when he writes the Declaration, and we're coming up on the 250th in just a couple of months here. And you look at that age, and there's something about that age where you're just hitting your stride. You're in your prime. You're on the top of the world. You've got your health. He was so healthy, Steve. Yeah. Charlie Kirk was a biohacking, loved the Maha, health nut, cold plunge every day kind of guy. I mean, half the time, he didn't drink caffeine. That Starbucks cup, that's tea. That's not coffee. Didn't drink caffeine. He's been he was off of caffeine for a year, I think. And he really focused on what goes into his body, and really focused on health and nutrition, and was always talking about that. Funny, behind the scenes, we would talk about that just as much as we would talk about politics or, argue theology and, debate back and forth, all of these various things. And I mean, they took my friend away. You took my friend away.
What is it?
And let me just
go ahead.
I was at the Museum of the Bible earlier this week with President Trump. And President Trump, and he got there and he said, America needs to pray again, and America has to have the prayer initiative. But he also talked about this horrific situation with the young Ukrainian girl down in Charlotte. And he said something. He said, sometimes you have to do horrible things to stop horrible things. And we are now living through the era of horrible things.
I couldn't agree with Jack more. We are now living through the era of horrible things. It's a sad day in America, guys. I mean, if it wasn't sad enough that it was 9/11 today. We're getting an update now. What is this from the Gateway Pundit? Potential break. This was an hour ago. A potential break in the assassination. A press conference due for rapid developments. Utah authorities postponed a 12:45 p.m. press conference on Thursday due to rapid developments from the Charlie Kirk assassination. Earlier, I think it's 12 p.m. I think it's 12:45 their time. Earlier Thursday, the FBI released photos of a person of interest connected in the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. As they are seeking the information, call 800 call FBI. They also offered a $100,000 reward as Utah law enforcement postponed their press conference to social media users believe they may have identified the person in the images posted by the FBI. So far, 2 people of interest were taken into custody and then subsequently let out. That's from Christina Leah over at the Gateway Pundit. Yeah, so once that was, what was that? That was about an hour ago. We're still waiting for those developments to come in from the FBI. Make sure you guys keep it locked in here throughout the day for all of the updates, for all the, what is this? FBI, from Fox News, FBI is saying additional evidence include a palm imprint. They just dropped the Chiron. Thanks, guys. Kesh Patel is on his way out to Utah to monitor the situation, but I still want to keep remembering Charlie and what he meant to so many people. Here was if you were done crying, this one's probably not going to help. Here was Patrick Bet-David letting his audience know at a conference that Charlie Kirk was killed. And, you know, I don't know if Pat did this at the conference or if this is from a video that was played, you know, an edited video afterwards. But somebody dubbed over Now We're Free by Hans Zimmer. A lot of you will know it as the theme song to Gladiator. Here's Patrick Bet-David.
How many of you guys know what just happened the last hour and 15 minutes? Who has no clue what just happened the last hour and 15 minutes? Hour and 15 minutes, we've been going back and forth. Report just came 5 minutes ago. Charlie Kirk was shot and he's dead. Yes. When I'm coming on the stage, I was coming on the stage to start a prayer for him because it wasn't announced. Vinny comes up and tells me, Charlie's dead. Kelly comes and signals to me, Charlie's dead. We've had Charlie on the podcast. I think Charlie's a very important guy in America for our youth. It's weird, I mentioned his name yesterday. Do you remember? Yesterday I said Dylan was watching his debates the other day on his own. And a story like this takes place. I went back, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me for a story like this. Beautiful family. By the way, forget about political differences. Some of you guys may not like the guy. Some of you guys may like him. But an event like this, you look at the top 15 things that are trending right now on X. Look at them. The last thing we need is things like this to raise the temperature. Breaks my heart. Young man, 31 years old, family. And when you see events like this, you know what it does? Many people react in a place of fear. Security's on the back. Do you want to hit the stage? Of course I'm going to hit the stage. What do you mean? Dude, this is not how we roll. You think America accidentally became the greatest country in the world? You think this happened because we didn't have courage? You think this happened because we didn't have to fight? You think this happened because the leaders, the founding fathers were scared? No. We're the luckiest people alive. But in moments like this, we can either get our temperature to go high, lose our cool, react accordingly, or we can calm the nerves down, become examples and leaders. Simultaneously staying tough, calling out the truth, and being willing to fight for this guy who's been pouring into what he believes in. All Charlie did is he loved America. So if you don't mind, with your permission, I would like to bring Tom up to give a prayer before we finish this session.
All Charlie did was love America. And what Patrick says there, and whoever put that song over it, thanks for, it's one of the best scores in movie history. Now We're Free by Hans Zimmer. What I love about what Patrick says there is, do you think we became the greatest country in the world by being afraid? Do you think we became the greatest country in the world by cowering in the corner? No. No, we didn't. No, we certainly did not. And I am not going to stop. I'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. There were rumors circulating yesterday that another guy who does speeches on college campuses, Ben Shapiro, was going to cancel his college speaking tour that gets, hell, he goes to colleges and he gets a bigger audience in some of the football games. And Ben responded to that this morning by letting everyone know that if you want to honor Charlie Kirk, if you want to keep his legacy alive, if you want to keep the movement of Turning Point USA going, that you can't stop, that you mustn't stop, that you must push forward.
Now, it's still up to us. I saw a lot of rumors online today. I was made aware of this by my team that I canceled some sort of college tour. That's bullshit. I saw those rumors. They are false. I will be coming to college campuses, many of them this year. So will we all, I am sure, because we're Americans and we're not going to be deterred. Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that blood-stained microphone where Charlie left it. And to those who would intimidate, who would seek to stop us, who would seek to end free discussion, who believe that they have ownership over public spaces and can violently threaten and kill people who speak freely, we are not going to stop. And I have two words: fuck you. We will not stop telling the truth. We will never stop telling the truth. We will never stop debating and discussing. We will never stop standing up for what America is and for what she should be. And we will never let Charlie Kirk's voice die. Goodbye to my friend, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing for your family and for your country and for all of us.
And that's how you keep Charlie's memory alive, by never stopping. By continuing to stand up for American principles. I want to be clear, man. The local audience will know this. The national audience might not. Things have gotten a little crazy over here. And we haven't done as much of the community engagement as we did when we started. The world started again. Life started again. I am going to rededicate my life to the movement. I will be out at every protest, and I will be in every street. I will be at every college. I'll be at any high school that'll have me. And I'll be doing it for Charlie because it's what he would have wanted. He would have wanted us to never stop. And I promise you, this Saturday, when I'm standing on the back of a pickup truck in an open parking lot, I'll be thinking about it. But whoever did this, whatever their political motivations were, that's their goal. Their goal is to get us to stop. Their goal is to say that if I can get Charlie Kirk, I can get anybody. And as Ben Shapiro said, fuck you. We will not stop. Even if awful people out there like Matthew Dowd of MSNBC, that newly out of work piece of shit, who goes on television and blames Charlie Kirk for his own death.
But following up what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
There's a special place in hell for Matthew Dowd. And he's been fired from MSNBC, and I'm happy that he was. But he wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only one. There was Katie Terror on MSNBC, who somehow found a way to blame Trump for this.
Because as we were just talking about a moment ago with Alan, after one of the Doge employees was allegedly attacked in Washington, D.C., that's what Donald Trump used as justification to send in federal troops into Washington, D.C. to get things under control. The carjacking situation, he used that. And I know it's hard to predict the future, Mark, but you can imagine the administration using this as a justification for something.
I must admit, I'm at a loss to guess as to what happens next. But Kirk,
I mean, I don't know what happened to you in your life that you think that is appropriate to say on television. But that's not the worst of the worst. There is a show out there. There is a show out there called TMZ. Now, obviously, you are forward-thinking people, and you don't really give a shit about what they say on TMZ because you don't really care about Miley Cyrus's latest nip slip or whether or not some D-list celebrity was drunk at a bar on Beverly Hills Drive. But there's a show out there where all they do is follow around famous people and get, like, stupid-ass interviews with them and, like, them in their worst possible moments. Here they were laughing about Charlie Kirk's death.
If he's still on the loose because they want to find him. So I would think that that's one of the main reasons they're holding this news conference. So my guess is we're going to see an image of this guy possibly in the next 20 minutes. The news conference is scheduled for 3 o'clock in Utah time, which is 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern. Janet, go to have somebody look at the Fox. Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
All right, so is this ready to?
And now you heard the entire cast and crew and the producers and a bunch of motherless sons of bitches that make $35,000 a year to follow around, I don't know, Jason Aldean and see what he's up to or whatever the hell these people do. I don't wish bad things on people, but let me tell you something. Harvey Levin, you parasite on the American culture. I hope you and your entire team. I won't say what I'm going to say. I won't say what I'm going to say. I won't say what I'm going to say. Believe me, I could. Now, there were rational reactions out there also from the cultural and the political space. Here was Joe Rogan and Charlie Sheen reacting to it.
So this just happened. We just found out that Charlie Kirk got shot.
It's fucking awful.
And is he dead?
No, I don't think so.
That's what was just
one of the guys out there just said it was confirmed that he's dead.
In the lobby was just.
I was looking. I've been looking. I haven't seen anything that said confirmed.
Whoa.
Murder for having a different opinion from somebody else.
Yeah.
Different ideology from somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Beliefs that didn't align.
Did it or,
yeah.
I'm sorry?
Dead?
Yep.
Rest in peace.
We're in
Fuck.
Fox News.
Jesus. 27 years old, maybe? 30?
Do they even have a suspect?
I don't know. Well, that's why I don't. I'm literally trying to track it all on Twitter, and it's all.
Fuck. Nobody deserves it. He doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that.
Now, that's a totally rational response. There are, and look, a lot of you guys have been doing this all day, and I don't mind, sending me whatever stuff you have. But people have been sending me images and whatnot of people celebrating this, and I can't imagine anyone being killed in this manner that I would be happy about. I can't imagine anyone. There are some sick people out there. And unfortunately, many of them occupy positions of authority in this country. Many of them occupy positions of political power, or as you saw in the media there with Matthew Dowd, who I hope falls down a flight of stairs. But he wasn't the only one. They weren't the only ones, and TMZ weren't the only ones. Here was potentially the next president of the United States, J.B. Pritzker.
My sympathy to Charlie Kirk's family and to Charlie Kirk, who obviously has, become a target for somebody. I don't know whether it's political violence because I don't know who did it. I know they seem to have somebody in custody. But I will say that political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in other states. And I would just say it's got to stop. And I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it. We've seen the January 6th rioters who clearly, have tripped a new era of political violence.
I'm trying so hard right now. You fat. I joke around on this show a lot that Democrats can't seem to do anything without mentioning January 6th. They go out to dinner and they say, I'll have the chicken with a side of January 6th. But to watch J.B. Pritzker, to watch that fat... This is nothing like January 6th. This is nothing like the killings in Minnesota. You don't even know those people's names. This is up there with Bobby Kennedy and MLK and Malcolm X. This isn't just some right-wing commentator. Charlie Kirk was going to be president one day. He was going to be president one day. And all of that, gone. His 2 kids will grow up without a dad. But J.B. Pritzker wants to make sure you remember it's just like January 6th. It's just like a bunch of people going into a building that they pay for, a building that they own. Because people like J.B. Pritzker think that we don't belong. I've got one more clip. This is Megyn Kelly announcing live on her show the tragic news. And just her and Glenn Beck have the most real response. The most real response imaginable.
That's right. There are news outlets reporting the worst right now, Glenn. I don't know what I'm waiting for before I report it. You know, I trust just the news. I trust Deseret. What are we waiting for, like, the AP to say it? We don't trust them more than we trust these. They're reporting that Charlie has died. That he's dead. At the age of 31. Which he would have to be if that video was real.
There's no way he survived that. The only good thing is, it had to have happened quickly.
Right. Right. If you see the video, you do not see any suffering.
No.
He appears to have been spared the horrific.
And that's 2 legends in our industry. 2 people who covered 9/11, they covered wars, they covered terrorist attacks. They've covered the worst that humanity can show. If you've been a conservative media viewer for the last 30 years, Glenn Beck and Megyn Kelly have been staples of your television. I don't think the other side truly understands. I don't think the other side truly understands what Charlie Kirk meant to us. What he truly was. And how could they understand? How could they? Because they have concocted this false image in their mind of who Charlie was, of what Charlie believed, of what we believe. I'm not blaming any particular person except for the shooter because I don't do that. But you cannot spend 5, 10, 15 years ramping people up into thinking that there's a fucking Nazi around every corner and not expect somebody who's insane to do something like this. You cannot expect that when you've lied about somebody for a decade, that the most batshit crazy person among you will not go out and do something insane. You can't. You can't. You can't be shocked when that happens. Charlie was a moderate. You know, he wasn't far right. I know far right guys. Charlie wasn't that. But to the left, everything is far right. To the left, there's a Nazi around every corner. I've never, according to them, everyone is a white supremacist. I've never even met one. I've never even seen one walking down the street. I've never even seen a video of one walking down the street. I've seen a bunch of dickheads cosplaying as idiots. The Patriot Front, or whatever the hell that thing's called, that they pop up every once in a while. I've seen that. To a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And Democrats continue to, and they're going to do this. You watch. They're going to spend the next couple days talking about tamping down the rhetoric. Then they're going to go right back to it. You already saw Katie Tur doing it. Well, what if Trump uses this as some kind of a power grab? What if he uses that as some kind of a power grab? Go to hell, lady. Go to hell. And the outpouring of support is coming in from all over the world. And I just hope and I pray that Charlie Kirk knew what he meant to people. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu came out and said Charlie Kirk was murdered for speaking the truth and defending freedom. Giorgina Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, said, it's in Italian, so I can't. Let me see if I can translate it real quick. I'm shocked to learn the news of Charlie Kirk, a young and followed Republican activist. This is going to come out weird. An atrocious murder, a deep wound for democracy and those who believe in freedom. My condolences to his family and the American conservative community. She wasn't the only one. Keir Starmer, the left-wing Prime Minister of the UK. My thoughts this evening are with the loved ones of Charlie Kirk. Boris Johnson, the former Conservative Prime Minister. The murder of the UK. The murder of Charlie Kirk is a tragedy and a sign of the utter desperation and cowardice of those who could not defeat him in an argument. Charlie Kirk has been killed not for espousing extremist views, but because he didn't. Wow. The current leader of the British Conservative Party said the murder was a blow to every Western civilization, everything Western civilization stands for. Nigel Farage, the next Prime Minister of the UK, shared a photo of him and Charlie Kirk, saying a very dark day for American democracy. Javier Milei of Argentina came out and offered condolences to his family. The Prime Minister of New Zealand, Winston Peters, warned of the growing threat of political violence and said it is a tragedy. Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, everyone from around the world came out and talked about Charlie Kirk. And as I said at the top of the hour, I just hope that he knew. I hope that he knew what he meant to people. I really hope he did. President Trump this morning announced that he would be posthumously awarding the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Charlie Kirk, which is the highest award a civilian can earn in the United States. I don't know when he's going to do it, but whenever he does, there's going to be a rally in D.C. like you can't believe. Here was President Trump.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Before we begin, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd. Very, very big.
And Charlie deserves it. Charlie absolutely deserves it. One last one before we wrap up here today, guys. Once again, keep it locked into LFA TV for all of the updates. Here's my friend, longtime Republican activist and Trump advisor, Alex Brusewitz.
With that, we bring in Alex Brusewitz, a Trump advisor who worked with Charlie Kirk to mobilize young voters. Charlie also wrote the foreword for Alex's book, Winning the Social Media War, and they were longtime friends. Alex, first of all, I'm just so sorry for your loss. You two, in many ways, grew up together. Your thoughts on losing Charlie just not even a day ago?
Well, Martha, it's been really tough. 24 hours, and I lost a friend of mine since I was 16 years old. An incredible woman lost her loving husband, 2 beautiful children, lost their father, and America lost the most impactful voice of our generation. Someone who would never say this himself, but was definitely going to be the president of the United States one day. The way
Absolutely,
he
Alex.
impacted my life and the lives of every single person in our movement, the lives of every single person in the president's family. It's he's just incredible, the way he's touched us all. And we honor him today, and we honor him every day moving forward, and we will fight for him. And I was just with him 4 days ago in South Korea. It was his first time on a trip to Asia, and I hadn't seen him since the inauguration. I walked into the green room, and he gave me a big hug, and he was telling everybody in the green room how proud of me he was, because I'm getting married in January. And he kept saying that out of all of the great successes that he's had in his life, marrying Erica and having their 2 beautiful children was better than anything else. And he was also making a joke about how we have the West Coast swing states covered because he married former Miss Arizona and I'm marrying former Miss Nevada. And so that just showed a little bit of his humor. But he's an incredible man, and he's the nicest guy that I've ever met in my life. He would never hurt anyone. It breaks my heart that it was him who got hurt. He only wanted to have conversations with people. He only wanted to debate people. He didn't use violence. He didn't use violent rhetoric. He just spoke the truth. But we're up against a sick ideology in this country, Martha. It's a sick ideology that the president called out rightfully in his Oval Office address yesterday. The radical left for too long has been perpetrating this hate on innocent people like the president, who got nearly shot twice, and my friend Charlie, who lost his life yesterday because of the rhetoric that comes from people like Adam Schiff. And these people don't even believe what they say, but they say it anyway because they want to get television hits on MSNBC or CNN. And then there are people, they believe it, but they don't. The people who say it, they don't believe it because you see them in Washington then, and they kiss your ass. They're the nicest people to your face. But they go on television and they spew this hate. It's sick. And every single person that has said a hateful thing about Charlie or about the president or about any of us must immediately apologize and cease from saying it further. It's a disgrace. And my heart breaks for Charlie. It breaks for his family. It breaks for everybody in their country because he's a great American.
Look, guys, the story's not over. It's not going to be over for a while. We're going to get more information probably throughout the day. But if you want to keep Charlie's memory alive, then don't ever stop fighting. Don't ever stop promoting the values that made this country great. Like I played for you before, what Patrick Bet-David said. We didn't become the greatest country in the world by cowering. We didn't become the greatest country in the world by sitting in the corner. We became the greatest country because of courage and balls and determination and principles and values. And that's what Charlie stood for. That's what Charlie stood for. Guys, once again, I'm going to be saying it over the next couple of days for my local audience. This Saturday, we're going to be hosting a candlelight vigil. Members of Congress will be there. Former members of Congress, elected officials, they'll all be there. It's going to be big. And I hope to see you all there. Because I'm not going to stop. Because Charlie wouldn't have wanted us to stop. So, guys, Pete Santilli's coming up next on LFA TV. I will catch you guys back tomorrow here, 3 p.m. Eastern, as always. Until tomorrow, everybody, do it for Charlie.